everyone. So today's question is a very important one because networking is such a critical piece of finding a job. As a matter of fact, almost 40% of our students get their jobs through networking. So any way that you can do it is important. So today we're talking about, the question is about how do I do it via email or digitally, and I'm assuming digitally also kind of includes social media. So I'm going to include that in my answer as well. So as far as email is concerned, it's important to be brief in your email. Have your email message literally end what we call above the fold, so the person doesn't need to scroll down. So if they open the email, they can see everything that you're saying in the first screen. And you want to, it's almost like the beginning of a cover letter where you're introducing yourself. Who are you? What are you looking for? You never want to ask for a job, especially if it's a stranger, but you're asking for information about either where they work or their position, and that you're really interested in learning about that, and see if they would be willing to meet with you for 15 to 20 minutes, either on the phone or in person, depending on where they're located and where you're located, and asking them to respond. So very quick, very straightforward. Also, if someone is referring you to that person, you always want to say in the very first sentence, on the recommendation of Jane Doe, I'm reaching out to you. Because if you tell them that, their friend has suggested that they reach out, they're certainly not going to ignore you because they don't want to disrespect their friend. So that's how you would do it via email. Let's talk a little bit about social media, because that is just such a fabulous place to not only find people but to connect with them. So obviously LinkedIn is the #1 place to identify professionals, and you can send them messages. You can do DMs through LinkedIn. Again, the messaging is exactly the same. I saw your profile on LinkedIn. I would love to learn more about the space that you're in, your title. I'm a marketing major at Bentley or finance major at Bentley, and I'm just really interested in learning more. So that's how you would do the messaging within LinkedIn. But the other place that you should look and that you should try to communicate with people for networking is on Twitter. And I know a lot of students aren't necessarily on Twitter, or you're using Instagram, you're using Snapchat, but the bottom line is that older professionals, seasoned professionals like myself are not necessarily going to be on Snapchat or Instagram. And also, FYI, I'm sure you're not surprised, is that students don't want to communicate with adults on those platforms either. But Twitter is obviously an open platform. There's millions of users there. Everything that someone does is open for everyone else to see. And so, believe it or not, a lot of executives are on Twitter, and they're either commenting about what's going on in their industry, or they're trying to put information out there about their company, or just trying to communicate in general, just to kind of build their own brand. And believe it or not, it's the best way to communicate with someone on Twitter is through Twitter, and sending them a DM or tweeting to them and saying, I thought what you just said about this is great, love to learn more, and then you take it offline. And I will be honest with you, students that have done this have been successful. So a quick example is that I had a student who was really interested in working in an ad agency, and the CMO, the chief marketing officer of that company, was on LinkedIn and was very prolific there, writing a lot of stuff, tweeting constantly. And so she tweeted back to him about something that he had said that she thought was interesting. And she said, I really found your comment about this really interesting. I'm a student, love to talk to you more about it. And he immediately DM'd her and was like, hey, let's get together for coffee, would love to talk to you. And then, believe it or not, she ended up getting an internship with that company through that interaction. So networking on Twitter is awesome, and it does work. And if you can identify some great thought leaders and you're brave enough to reach out to them, there's nothing to lose and a lot to gain. So anyway, so I hope you find all of those, lots of tips today, a couple of tools. So tips, be brief, tell them what you want, tell them who you are, don't ask for a job. Tool, LinkedIn, Twitter, and your email. And the trick is like I said, to not ask for that job. Be very strategic about how you're reaching out, because the minute you ask about a job, if they don't have one, the conversation is over. So you want to ask about things that will keep the conversation going, because sooner or later, if you nurture that relationship, hopefully some job opportunities will come out as a result. So anyway, I wish you good luck, and I'll see you next time.